Welcome to the Checkered Shorts Podcast, a podcast of three fraternity brothers reconnected by their love of IndyCar. Join us for grid-rival IndyCar fantasy talk, predictions for upcoming races, and reactions to race day results and all things IndyCar. Let's go racing! All right, come on to Checkered Shorts. We've been trying to fill gaps here when races are not being very consistent. It's in the middle. So this
3 weeks.
Be unscripted, go through some things, just kind of shoot the breeze like we would if we were hanging out together. So,
What'd you guys have for lunch?
I had a little chicken Caesar salad today.
Man, look at this guy.
Keith, what'd you have?
I was out at the barbecue today because both my kids were over. I got adult children, but I had filleted some big chicken breasts in half and seasoned them up real well. Put them on charcoal only in this household. So went out and grilled them up nice. Had us a nice little lunch and enjoyed some time cleaning the pool. Right now, it's just a visual attraction. There's no swimming here in Southern Indiana. But it's been a lot of fun. I gotta say, this ride so far, the idea of having a podcast is just getting together with your buddies and having a blast talking about something that you enjoy. 100%. So it's been really, really cool. One thing that we've done throughout is kind of keep our updated power rankings throughout. And so I like to go through our top 10. Brian, you always do the math for us. And all of us pick some guys for one reason or the other. So it's subjective with some influence of knowledge and some of the most recent events. But obviously we're not experts, and some of us will rank some guys higher just based off popularity.
But I will say this: I don't think either of you two look at like NTT's ratings either. This is just literally how we feel. Like, like Scott Dixon, you'll probably be fourth over fifth or whatever. So this is totally just
mine is strictly the Brian Dinwiddie power ranking. I'm not doing any research.
This is how I wrote mine down to my vote to Dinwiddie, and he can calculate it all. So no, this is just us raw and how we feel. So
which
we do know
proven last week after the last race, because we had old Joseph Newgarden in the third position last week, and then the IndyCar staff came out and didn't even have Joseph in their top 10. Shows what we know, right? Like, and he proved it this week. He proved it this week, and with a 27th place finish. So
conspiracy theory. I mean, you know what I mean? Here we go.
Yeah, let's take the star of your series and put him outside your power rankings.
Let's spend millions of dollars on commercials and back-to-back 500 winners and throw them out of the top 10 overall. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But what are we looking like?
Speaking of, we'll go from 10th to first here. And speaking of Mr. Newgarden, we'll start off our power rankings. We had him at 10th. Two of us had him ranked as our 10th, and then I think Keith, you were the one that didn't even have him in your top 10. I think you had Alex Rossi in that position, but overall he averaged out in that 10th position for us.
I could
just
see
ahead of him, and I think maybe we got this guy a little low. I think as Will Power. I know we had the first lap wreck at
probably,
but he's driven his way up. He hasn't qualified well, but he's driven his way up, and so we've got him at 9th.
It's still kind of rough to see those guys at 9 and 10 as teammates, though. Guys at the beginning of the season, we're talking about team domination, talking about those guys pushing for top of the podium and trying to knock Palou off his high horse.
Powers produced, other than the first race, obviously. He has not been mentioned the most in broadcasts, but he's consistent, and that's what he needs to do to get up to this, top 5 type team. So
he's got to qualify better, which is weird for Will because he's the all-time winning pole winner.
He's mentioned it. He's like, we are really fast. He said it here after this quote. He's like, we are really fast in practice, top 5-ish in practice, and then
I do want the opportunity to defend my dissension while I have Rossi over top of Newgarden. All right, you guys are the long you're a little longer in the tooth for the sport than I am. So, you guys come off as the experts more often than not. But for me, Rossi is overachieving maybe his expectations, where Newgarden is way underachieving. And that's why I would have Rossi ahead. And points right now, they're actually dead even. So, it's 10A and 10B.
They are.
So, to me, and we talked about it at Long Beach, Rossi kind of fell off or got lost in there. But, man, he didn't get lost like Newgarden got lost.
Yeah, talk about who would be embarrassed about being in that position. And Rossi, I think, would like to be a sixth, a fifth, in his position. Newgarden would like to be second at a minimum.
Right.
So, no, I think both of them should be higher.
Yeah.
But no,
speaking of people who should be higher, I think our next two guys fit into that. At number 8, we have Colton Herta, and at number 7, we have Pato O'Ward. And I think that going into this season, those were two other guys that we thought could challenge for a title, and right now they're not doing it. I know Pato struggles on street courses, and we've had 2 of those, so that hurts. And Herta just he gets his Pat Kelly landscaping pitch.
Do we
think
it's? I've talked about this. We need a changing of the guard, and I don't think any of this is changing of the guard. Does that make sense? Like, nobody is outproducing these old guys yet. It's just a lot of them
experience and strategy
racing. A lot of it's just. But there has been no changing of the official guard of why these. It's just really, it's a lot of things. But
yeah, I think we're going to get there. I think we got one coming later. But speaking of that, like one guy that's done that this year and really jumped off the page is Lundgaard. Christian Lundgaard we got him as our number 6 power ranked driver at this point. At Long Beach, he put up another fantastic performance, and that's 2 podiums in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty solid. So he's moving up quick in our rankings. Another guy that is just quietly performing each week comes in at number 5 for us, and that's old Felix Rosenquist. Yeah, and Meyer Shank. It's the only Meyer Shank car on this list. It's actually the only thing outside of the big 4 teams that's on our list this week. 4th place, I was kind of surprised to see him this high is Scott Dixon. Not saying he hasn't been solid this year, but like he finished second to Pillow at St. Pete. Wasn't really, probably should have won that race, but didn't really blow anybody away there. And the last 2 races hasn't been super awesome, but we all had him. Let me look at our list here. Like we all had him in our top 6 rankings. So
I haven't third. I haven't got it
at 4th. So
I think it's just he's been consistent. He's not been the Newgarden who finished last. He has. I mean, the willpower. He's just, fortunately for him, has just hung around and still pretty darn good.
He does what Scott does.
I think that's the easy. But he's 3rd, 4th. Like pretty easily, you can put him comfortably in that compared to a Lundgaard who you're like, I don't know quite. Yeah, okay, I'll give him to Dixon. That's how I see it.
I've looked at these power rankings a little differently too. Obviously, you're looking at what's happened in the past, but I'm kind of looking at it. If I were to predict how they're going to finish top 10 at the end of the season, I'm also still looking into the future. And he's also been, the consistency of the guy over the course of decades is there. So you can't count him out. The second we run him down the list, he's going to be right up at the top because he'll turn it around before you know it.
Well, he never finishes 27th. The guy's
ever.
That's how he's won championships, is just by being super consistent. So next, a guy that I think is kind of the next Scott Dixon is Scott McLaughlin. Not just because he's from New Zealand, but he just seems like a good dude. Doesn't get rattled about things other than his little.
I love him.
But we've got him at number 3. Might be a little high. When we look at, I don't know, where is he in the standings right now? He's much lower than I thought. He's 8th in the standings, but we've got him at number 3. I know that part of that 8th place is because
one bad race.
Thermal. Yeah. Right. And then you mentioned the change in the guard. I said this in the post-race pod. The guy that I think doesn't get enough credit is Kyle Kirkwood. And so, we had him down at 6th after race 2, and then we jumped him up to number 2 after the victory at Long Beach. He's been super consistent. He's qualified really well. He's won in every series he's ever raced, and here he is in year 3 with Andretti, and it looks like he's ready to make that move. And so we all had him. 2 of us had him in that number 2 spot. I think Pat. I
had him in number 4. Like, he still has to do it, and by golly, like he can. It's his 3rd race to win ever. That's not enough. If you're gonna produce first with Chip and Penske, it's just not. I have him at 4th. So what is he 3rd? Did we say
he's second on our list?
So I can put him up there, and that's fine. But they have to do it. But he's getting Colton Herta run for his money.
Yeah,
to be number 1 driver.
He's become the number 1 guy at Andretti in my mind,
and I totally am on board with that. Let's do it. Let's make some noise. Let's get it.
All right, Keith, you want to defend your choice for the number 1 driver in IndyCar right now?
Yeah, it's it's probably going out on the limb. There's probably some people thinking I'm crazy, but I guess we got to give it to the red and yellow team, Palou.
During the Long Beach, we were all texting, and after that first sequence, we're like, oh no. Oh no, Palou's like technically 2nd after, like, he was 7th or whatever it was because of the pit exchange, and he was behind Kirkwood. We're like, and he jumped a couple spots. We're like, oh crap, Palou's gonna win this thing. And like, literally, we were like, Palou's gonna win this thing. Let's just turn it on to the Masters. So,
I mean, he had his worst effort of the season, and he finished 2nd.
Yeah.
Well, you started 3rd, he dropped back to 5th or 6th, and then after the pit exchange, here he is back at number 2. It's like when you've got a guy that's so stinking talented as a race car driver, and then you pair him with the engineering team and Barry Wanzer as the crew chief or whatever we call them in IndyCar. Like, it's just a magical combination they've got.
I texted, or I saw my buddy and who's on Palou's team, right? I was like, hey, congrats. And he's like, I don't know, thanks. I'm like, he was really good. He's like, we're going to win every damn race. I'm like, he's like, no, that's what, like, we seriously think we're going to do.
Yeah.
And then Palou kept creeping up on, I'm like, oh my God, they might like literally win every race.
It's going to happen.
And we don't want to see that.
Like, no, and we don't.
We don't want Formula One for the last 4 years with Verstappen running away and leaving everybody every race. That's not what IndyCar is about. So hopefully,
we did shrink that gap by 5 points. So let's go. I think we talked about this, but the ovals will be a little bit more heavy set in the back end of things. The 500 is a crapshoot. So let's go. Let's go.
Well, then the other thing, like I look at this top 10 that we have, and 1 through 5 is kind of like, where's the personality? At least they're not what the sport is trying to sell, except for Palou, who by default is put out front because he is the champion. But it's hard to have him as your banner waver because he is a little absent of, there's not that magnetism or some charismatic thing that pulls you to him. I did enjoy the story that Fox shared today on the broadcast, though, when they said something about when he was going up the ranks in Europe, and then he early on reached out to IndyCar and wanted potentially to come over and run an IndyCar, and he got a lot of non-return phone calls. So, those are some things that I think are angles that you could play up a little bit, even if it's it seems like all these guys are really nice guys and do get along in the paddock, but you want to have a little bit of that back and forth. It was so exciting, even though it was not at the front end of the race, as guys that were out of the race. But the McLaughlin mix up last week at Thermal, and they make their piece and they move on. But it's still pretty fun to see that heated exchange because the competition is heated.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like 7 through 10 with Award, Herta, Power, Newgarden. There's your personality of the series. Those are the guys that every week you're going to get those made for TV, made for YouTube moments. The guys that are well spoken, the guys that aren't shy around the camera. But I'm interested to see Kirkwood and McLaughlin because I think Fox maybe or somebody's got to find their personality because I think that personality is there. I just don't know that they get the time that's needed to get in front of the camera.
Scotty Mack is probably my favorite personality in the paddock. I mean, he's just a guy's guy. Just mate, let's go drink a beer. It's just we could all relate to him. Super nice, has a good little smile. It's just he's ready to go and is on. But I think on an off day, if you caught him, let's go hang out. Let's go. Come on. That's how I see Scotty Mack.
Yeah.
Well,
we got to talk about
grid rivals.
Talk about our grid rivals a little bit. I think we're all still trying to figure it out a little week by week.
A little bit. But
I actually paid the penalty to drop a driver this week, which was new to me because
first time in history.
I went through and signed a bunch of people for the full 3-week or the 3-race contract when I didn't realize I could do per race, and so I decided, I wasn't feeling everybody that I had on my roster at the time, so I dropped somebody and paid the penalty. I don't know if I made any hay though because I picked up Nolan Siegel. And
I think you did okay.
I think he earned me 57 points. And Connor Daly was the guy that I dropped.
Well, I can tell you that Connor would have gotten you 47 because not only did I have Connor, because I did the opposite. I dropped Siegel and paid the penalty to pick up Connor because his Speed Street podcast convinced he was all on there talking about how he was going to bust it up this week, and so I bought into it. And
I mean,
he's put the double star thing on him, the double point thing, and
don't be a prick. He's just not good. Is that they're tired of pricks? So
Connor, you're killing me.
Yeah.
So I did the opposite, Keith, and
I moved up. So it's
go ahead, brag.
Keith, you are still first. Beef and Noodles. I don't know.
That's Maddox.
That's Ryan
Maddox.
Why is that his name?
From the hotel. Beef and Noodles. Remember we walked Newton, Iowa. We stay in the classiest joint in all of Newton, Iowa. And it's more like
the
long stay motel dwelling. And some people were cooking on a hot plate, and the entire motel smelled like beef and noodles.
There's a distinct smell to the O'Connell Lodge in Newton, Iowa. There's no doubt about that. You can probably account that the Big Hoss.
There's a restaurant that is 100 yards, and it used to be called Okoboji Grill. It is now called American Grill. So shout out. We'll hashtag Okoboji/American Grill. Truly, the light is sweet. GR user is third. I'm not sure who that is. Who's Double Birds? It's not either of you, is it?
That's no.
Well, they're fourth. They went up. Dinwiddie, you have went down to fifth.
Yeah, I'm having a rough week.
Liquid Johnny's Racing. This is yours truly. This shout out to Liquid Johnny's in Is it really? Is it Milwaukee? Is the
Oh, no,
racetrack in Milwaukee?
Oh, is that West Allis? What is that little town where the track is?
Anyway, Liquid Johnny's.
It's a fine establishment, walking distance from the RV.
It's the best spot
from
ever.
the RV
you ever
park.
Want to shout the Lord,
yeah.
And your best friend did what he's not is just like gonna be like, here, just take this.
You'll see some of Milwaukee's finest women at Liquid Johnny's.
Shout out to Jackie.
Yeah,
Jackie, is that her name? Come to Milwaukee with us. It'll be a really, really, really fun time.
It's an experience.
And then Dime Life, Scott might have bowed out. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know, but he was in first place after the first race. So like to drop all the way down to the bottom now, it's questionable.
So
but yeah, so Pat, you talked about how you had a great week. Who got your points for you?
That's good. Hold on. There's somebody got me 2 million points.
Probably Stingray Rod.
It was Kevin Simpson.
Yeah. Kevin Simpson, big play there with old Kevin.
The only reason I picked him is because I didn't have enough points after I contracted McLaughlin and Power. So actually, Rosenquist got me $1 million. Everybody else a couple 100,000. So Rossi lost me $500,000. So I see the fun in this. I think it just I do see in general the population just needs to know about this a little bit more, and I think it can grow for sure.
Well, I can tell you I had a rough week. So I had Kyle Kirkwood I still got him on my roster, and I'm going to keep him for at least one or two more races. But you would think, and Louis Foster got me $2 million. Like between those two, I got $3.5 million out of those two guys.
I think this is fun because one, you can see like, oh no, this guy got me $2 million. Like you don't ever necessarily see that in fantasy type of things.
Yeah.
And I did almost switch Rossi from. No, actually, never mind. I had Rossi.
I picked up Newgarden this week for this race, and I booked him for, as you can imagine, for as many races as I can, so I can get him through May.
But it is cool to play that little dollar and cents game. Like you can't just. So
after the last couple races, especially after Thermal, I thought, well, it's time for Joseph to bounce back and go on a run here, and then he cost me $2 million. And then
did you see his glare?
Cost me another $1 million.
It was after qualifying, like the glare he had into the camera, like they're there on his box and they like pan over and he's just like staring at it, like because he was mad at. I think it was Rosenquist, just the dynamic of holding people up and the timing and all that. Like it's not anybody's fault. It's just, but he's glaring right into the camera, like, "Don't talk to me right now."
All right, Keith. What's the key to success? Because you have held
on. I was going to say I don't want to show my hand, but I think it's luck because my limited knowledge. I'm about to ask a question. The starred racer in your lineup earned you extra points.
Double points.
Double points. Okay.
You get whatever they get.
Ferrucci.
Yeah, Ferrucci.
He's been earning me points because I haven't changed him from week one. Because I didn't know how it worked and I didn't know how to do it.
No, I mean, but I think that's the fun point is none of us do, and I don't think anybody else probably that is really doing this in our league or outside of our league either does. You know what I mean? Like, so
we're learning as we go. That's for sure.
Correct. Yeah. He got 1.8 million today.
258 points worth. Yeah. Good week again for you.
Yeah. Well, this is a lot of fun, and again, we can't say enough for those people that are joining in. I think we have reached out to some people. We're also considering maybe bringing on a guest here and there. So if you know some people connected or other just fans that may want to hop on, we might have some guest appearances later on in the season.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, what do you guys got going on this week? And it's an off week for racing. You got anything exciting in your lives going on, fellas?
It's senior night for Brady on Tuesday for track shot put. So we're going through the tiers of mom and going through all that, putting the poster boards and all that stuff together. So that's fun. Other than that, it's just spring and landscaping world. Head is slightly above water. No, but we're
water being the key word there, right? Like I mowed my yard for the first time today. So
I did ours yesterday. Double striped it. Looks best yard in the neighborhood. The weed eater. I used to have a weed eater, so the guys will come and like do stuff at my house every once in a while, and I must have told them like, yeah, just take the weed eater, and so I don't have a weed eater right now.
Landscaper without a weed eater.
Yeah, they're like, what's the door to the garage? And I'm like, yeah, here it is. And so try to go do all the landscaping stuff. I still do it in my personally because I'm picky, but yeah, no weed eater to be found. So Keith, what about you?
Well, it's a little different for me. Empty nester, so it's just my wife and I, especially during the week. But I do still go and do some announcing at the high school's baseball games. So I'll be doing some of those baseball games. That's some fun, good fun, setting up in the press box. And myself, I'm not a landscaper, but I love taking care of my own place. So I was out mowing today. So that's I like this time of year.
You've sent me like either drone shots or like Google image shots of your stripes. So
yeah,
Keith, you're hired any day of the week.
Keeping them straight.
Right.
I'm just waiting on the Kelly landscaping crew to get out here and do my spring cleanup.
Well,
I know they're on I'm on the books. So.
You're on the books. It's yeah, you're on the books. We'll just leave it at that. And anything else, Dinwiddie?
Oh, we got Easter coming up, so it'll be family time. Get together with family next weekend, the Easter. So
my daughter's getting baptized on Sunday as well. So
good for her.
So having all the family in for baptism and Easter, and just all the stuff going on.
Yeah, we won't talk till after Easter. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, we got away. Got to tell you guys though. Little got away yesterday. My wife and my oldest daughter were out of town, so I took my youngest down to the Art Craft Theater in Franklin, Indiana. The historic Art Craft Theater where Angie and my first date was at the Art Craft.
I've never been
back there since, and saw a little Sunday matinee, or what is this? Saturday matinee of Nacho Libre.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen that in a long time, and then grabbed a little pizza at the old Willard Hotel. So,
I've never been stepped inside that theater.
Oh, you should.
I know.
It's a place.
I know. Nope, never have.
Maybe in May they'll show something IndyCar related, and we'll all have to get together and go.
Yeah, there we go. There you go. There you go. For all of those, hold on. We have Dinwiddie's probably will never come. One of these days, we have a party now. It's Brady's graduation party because it's race day too. Or it's the Saturday before the race that we've always had. So it's Brady's graduation party / race day. So come to the Kelly household. For all of our listeners.
You show up at the house, open invitation
party there, Patrick.
Yeah. They're like, no, we're here for the party. Who are you? Oh, we're a listener? You got white glove service, sir.
This year, I'm
May
really excited though. But I will be going to Brian's party, so I've been invited every year and have not been able
May
to make it.
24th.
So I will be there, and then I'll also be going to my second Indianapolis 500, the last one being when I was 15 years old. So
that's why
pretty thrilled about
and
that.
I have never been to each other's parties because we have them the same day.
Yeah, we're going to change that next year, though, right, Pat? You're coming my way.
That's fine. After Brady, I think this was kind of the agreement. Like after Brady's graduation, we'll kind of nix it, and then
there we go.
So we'll see.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for joining us. It's a great time as
listeners,
always.
You guys are the best. We appreciate everybody. Let us know what you got. Questions, comments, concerns.
Ryan Maddox, we're waiting on those posters to get to arrive.
If you have a comment or question, just let Keith know.
All right, catch you next time.